Hey guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Carissa. So if you've ever felt like me, you've gotten to a point where you've seen everything that you want to see at least one time or 100 times and you need something new to watch. So I've been on a hunt this year to find something new. I started watching The X-Files, which I actually have been enjoying, but there's only so many episodes about government conspiracies and aliens that I can take, which I get that is the whole premise of the show, but still I needed to take a step back and find something new. So I found The 100, and this is a show that I genuinely have never heard of. I'm not just saying that, I have not heard of this show. I went in completely blind, and to sum it up, it's basically like Divergent in space. Like if you've seen those dystopian teenager movies, The Hunger Games, Divergent, The Maze Runner, all of those type ones, this is the TV show version of it. But there's also space. So yeah, I didn't know what to expect with this. I didn't think I would last more than a few episodes, to be honest, because I'm not the target audience. Well, that's not to say that adults can't enjoy shows that are aimed at teenagers, but some of them can be really juvenile. And this one is definitely one I feel like you can enjoy irregardless of your age. It's got themes that speak to everybody. So it came out in 2014. It went for 7 seasons. It is a drama, but it does definitely go into some dark areas. There's some episodes that you wouldn't be surprised if this took place in the Game of Thrones or The Hills Have Eyes universe. It goes from teenagers having love triangles to mutant hillbilly cannibals eating people. And it is a very significant tonal change. If you bear with it through those first few episodes, it definitely turns into a different show. It goes from feeling very teeny bopper, though still entertaining, to something that actually did surprise me with how dark and brutal it is. So basically the story of the show is that there is this huge event on Earth, this bomb, this nuclear bomb that goes off. There's radiation everywhere. People can't survive on Earth any longer, though they come to find out later that there are humans still on Earth. Anyway, when the bomb goes off, people go into space to survive. Then 100 years goes by. They want to send people down to see if you can survive on Earth again. But they don't want to go down themselves, so they send these teenager criminals, these juvenile delinquents, down as lab rats. And basically, on this spaceship called the Ark, you can go to jail for anything or get floated, which is to be killed, where they just like send you off into space for basically anything because they have to really uphold the law because, you know, it's a really tough situation that they're in. But anyway, there's these 100 teenagers, these criminal teenagers, so they send them all down to Earth, and yeah, it's really not what I thought it would be, and I mean that in a good way. So the characters are very morally grey, and I feel like I can get over that. The whole morally grey anti-hero is a trend that everybody has jumped on the bandwagon, and I can get a bit sick of it, but when it's done right, I absolutely love it. And I do feel like this is done right. The teenagers aren't bad people, but they find themselves in an impossible situation. So one of them Bellamy says to Clark, the people we want to be and the people we have to be to survive are two very different people. And that sums up this show very well. So Bellamy was a nobody on the Ark, basically. And Clark was this girl who her parents were basically the leaders up in space. So she comes down to Earth with a bit of an attitude that, okay, I'm going to be in charge now, you know, nepotism, space baby. And now she's on Earth, and there's this guy Bellamy who's a charismatic, naturally gifted leader, and people are looking to him and to her. There's this love triangle. There's this guy Finn who I really don't like. I don't know why. He just rubbed me the wrong way. He was so self-righteous, and then he goes and kills a bunch of innocent people to get Clark back, and it would have been a really interesting character arc if it had been explored more. He needed another season to go from what he was to what he became, and unfortunately that felt very rushed. Richard Harmon from the latest Final Destination movie, he is in this. He's also from Bates Motel, another show that I really like. So he plays what is the show's most morally grey character, well, that's on the show so far. I'm only up to season 2. And yeah, I really enjoy his character. And he has some great one-liners, and it goes from the teenagers to the adults. And I feel like when the adults come down and join them, the show does take a shift, and it's not necessarily for the better in some ways. The adults come down and won't listen to any of the advice that the teenagers have. And yeah, you get it to a degree. They're teenagers, but still, they've survived so far on the earth. And I'm not saying the show gets worse, because it actually does get better, like I said, as it goes along. But still, it is a bit weird, because at first it's like this Lord of the Flies, just the teenagers, and then we have them merging with the adults, and I've only just gotten up to that part. So yeah, there's also these mountain men who capture a whole bunch of teenagers to drain them of their blood, because their blood gives the mountain men these powers. Well, not powers, but abilities to go outside and withstand the radiation, because they've had to live in this mountain and not go outside their whole lives because they can't withstand the radiation. But the teenagers from the Ark are naturally able to withstand it. So there's all these crazy storylines, and it sounds insane, but it's really entertaining. I definitely recommend that you guys give it a watch if you haven't seen it before. If you have, let me know down below what you think of it. So far, based on what I've seen, I would give this show an 8 out of 10. So let me know your favorite dystopian teenager type show, movie. I was actually really surprised how much I enjoyed Divergent back in the day. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, all of that YouTube stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video.